Welcome back to the sanctuary of the human heart, anything you want. In the vast and often cynical library of celebrity history, there are thousands of stories about breakups. We read about them every day, the noisy separations, the legal battles, the meticulously drafted press releases that speak of mutual respect while hiding deep resentment. But then, there are the other stories. The quiet ones. The ones that do not end with a bang, but with a lingering silence that echoes louder than any shout. These are the stories of the loves that refuse to die, the connections that defy the logic of time and the finality of goodbyes. Today, we are opening the pages of just such a novel. It is a story that has captivated the imagination of fans not because of a scandal, but because of a single sentence that felt like a prayer whispered in a crowded room. We are talking about Emin Günenç and İlsu Demirci. Theirs is a tale that began under the bright lights of a television set, blossomed in the shadows of privacy, and was seemingly extinguished by the cold winds of reality. But recently, a spark was struck in the darkness. Emin Günenç, a man known for his stoic reserve, uttered a phrase that has since been etched into the history of tabloid journalism: "You are my first and only love." This was not just a confession, it was a definition. It was a moment where the script was burned, and the raw, bleeding heart of a man was placed on the table for the world to witness. Today, we are going to dissect the anatomy of this confession. We will travel back to the set of Unwritten, where two souls first recognized each other. We will walk through the silent corridors of their breakup, and we will stand in the center of the storm caused by Emin's unforgettable words. Before we embark on this emotional odyssey, I must ask for your unwavering alliance. To ensure that our independent, in-depth storytelling continues to thrive in an algorithm obsessed with the trivial, please verify that you are subscribed to anything you want. And for those among you who wish to be the true patrons of this channel, the guardians of detailed love stories, I invite you to click the join button below. Your support is the gravity that holds this universe together. Now, lower the lights and prepare your hearts. We are about to explore the weight of an eternal vow. To understand the devastating impact of the end, we must first appreciate the beauty of the beginning. The story of Emin Günenç and İlsu Demirci did not begin in a nightclub or at a gala, it began in the trenches of creative work. Their paths crossed on the set of Unwritten, a production that would become the crucible for their relationship. In the world of acting, there is a concept known as forced intimacy, the hours spent waiting between takes, the emotional vulnerability required for scenes, the shared exhaustion of long days. But for Emin and İlsu, this professional proximity quickly transmuted into something far more profound. No one on that set predicted that the chemistry between the characters would bleed so seamlessly into the actors. Their friendship was the foundation. A bond built on laughter, shared scripts, and the mutual understanding of two artists on the rise. But as the seasons turned, that friendship evolved into a romance that was as intense as it was private. Unlike many of their peers who merchandised their relationships for likes and covers, Emin and Ilsa chose the path of discretion. They built a fortress around their love, allowing only the rarest glimpses to escape. A stolen glance during a backstage interview, a suggestive comment on a photo, a harmony in their body language that spoke of a deep, unspoken synchronicity. They were, in the eyes of their fans, the perfect match, a couple who spoke the same language without uttering a word. But as the poets often remind us, the brightest flames cast the darkest shadows. Like all great love stories, the saga of Emin and Ilsa faced its trials. The details of their separation remain one of the great mysteries of the gossip world. It was not a chaotic explosion, it was a quiet implosion. There were no public fights, no deleted photos, at least, not immediately, and no scandalous third parties. There was simply a drifting apart, a quiet fracture that eventually shattered the whole. This quiet split left a vacuum that was quickly filled with rumors. The two decided to cut communication, a silence that deafened their mutual friends. While İlsu Demirci appeared to navigate the post-breakup landscape with a firm, almost regal stance, focusing on her career and projecting an image of resilience, Emin's reaction was markedly different. Sources close to the actor describe a man who withdrew. His behavior was not that of someone who had moved on, but of someone who was haunting the ruins of his own happiness. It was whispered in the corridors of the industry that Emin never fully accepted the breakup. He walked through his days, but his heart remained anchored in the past, hidden deep within a chest that refused to let go of the memory of Ilsu. And then came the moment that changed everything. It happened during a conversation that was perhaps meant to be casual, but turned into a confessional. Emin Günenç, looking back at the wreckage of the past, delivered the line that would define his emotional legacy: "You are my first and only love." Let us pause and analyze the weight of this sentence. He did not say "I loved you." He did not say "you were special." He used the qualifiers "first and only." In doing so, he erased every relationship that came before her and nullified every potential relationship that has come since. It was a declaration of absolute exclusivity. According to witnesses, the emotional intensity of the moment was palpable. It felt as though time itself had suspended its forward march. It is said that Emin's voice trembled, a rare crack in the armor of a man known for his strength, and that Ilsu's eyes filled with tears, the physical manifestation of a soul touched by a truth it had tried to forget. This was not just a sentence, it was a turning point. It opened the doors to a past that had been bolted shut, bringing years of repressed emotions rushing to the surface. It was an admission of vulnerability that stripped Emin of his celebrity and left him simply as a man standing before the woman who held the keys to his history. Host/voiceover, we are witnessing a level of devotion that is almost terrifying in its intensity. I want to turn the floor over to you, the Anything You Want community. Do you believe that a person can truly have only one real love in their life, or is Emin holding on to a ghost? If an ex said this to you, would you take them back? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, hitting the like button helps us continue to bring you these deep dives into the human condition. For those who want to support our detailed storytelling directly, the join button awaits. Why did these specific words resonate so deeply? Because they confirmed what the gossip columns had suspected for months. Emin Günenç has been living in a state of emotional celibacy since Ilsu. In the period following their breakup, Emin's name occasionally appeared in the tabloids connected to other women, but these were fleeting shadows, phantom links that never solidified into reality. He never officially linked himself to anyone else. Now we know why. Nothing could replace the bond he had shared with Ilsu. He reportedly told his inner circle that his heart was still in the same place, occupying the space she vacated. This confession reveals a man who has measured every subsequent interaction against the gold standard of his time with Ilsu and found them wanting. The phrase "first and only love" was interpreted by psychologists and fans alike as the clearest reflection of his inner world, a world where time has moved on, but his heart has remained frozen in that era of Arafta. It is a confession of regret, yes, but also a confession of loyalty to a memory. And what of İlsu Demirci? How does a woman respond when she is told she is the singular architect of a man's emotional life? While she remained verbally silent in the immediate aftermath, her digital footprint began to speak volumes. Fans, those eagle-eyed detectives of the heart, noticed a shift. Her messages became more meaningful, her photos more contemplative. Every phrase seemed to be a covert response to Emin's overt declaration. Sources close to the beautiful actress state that she understood the magnitude of Emin's feelings. However, understanding is not the same as forgetting. For Ilsu, these words were a double-edged sword, precious because they validated the love she gave, but hurtful because they reminded her of the pain that accompanied it. Along with the happiness of the past, there were tears, misunderstandings, and the eventual silence. She could not easily erase the memories of what had broken them. Yet, the fact that she did not reject the statement, that she allowed it to hang in the air without denial, suggests that the embers of that fire may not be entirely cold on her side either. One of the most poignant layers of this story is the element of regret. Emin's words were not just a statement of love, they were an admission of failure. It was reported that he told close friends, if I had done some things differently in the past, everything could have been different. This regret is the ghost that haunts the first and only declaration. It implies that he realizes, perhaps too late, the value of what he held in his hands. The phrase "you are my first and only love" thus becomes a silent confession of past mistakes. It is an acknowledgement that he let the only one slip away. This vulnerability has endeared him to his fans in a way that no role ever could. He revealed the most fragile side of his heart, showing that beneath the strong, distant demeanor of the celebrity lies a man wrestling with the universal pain of what if. Today, the future of Emin Günenç and İlsu Demirci remains unwritten. It is uncertain whether their paths will cross again in a way that leads back to romance. However, the landscape has changed. The possibility that fate would bring them together again, perhaps on a joint project, perhaps in life, has been strengthened by this confession. Rumors are already circulating that producers, sensing the electric tension and the public interest, are looking to cast them together again. Such an encounter would undoubtedly be filled with emotional moments, a collision of the past and the present. The compatibility between the two, once the subject of fan edits and magazine covers, is now the subject of hope. Fans argue that their natural behavior, the respect they showed even in separation, and the enduring nature of their bond point to a love that is not finished, merely interrupted. And so, we are left with a phrase that hangs in the air like a suspended chord in a symphony. You are my first and only love. Whether this sentence marks the final chapter of a tragedy or the prologue of a reconciliation, only time will tell. But one thing is certain. Emin Günenç has ensured that his name will forever be linked to İlsu Demirci. He has etched their story into the memory of the public, securing its place among the most unforgettable declarations in the history of love and loss. We will continue to watch, to listen, and to hope. Thank you for walking through this emotional journey with us on Anything You Want. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment. Do you think they will find their way back to each other? Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an update on this unfolding saga. And to our Join members, thank you for making this channel possible. Until next time, remember that true love never truly says goodbye. Goodbye.